Breaking news! Was it really a laser beam, not a missile or a bullet, that pulverized a Houthi helicopter in seconds over the Gulf of Aden? Subscribe right now if you believe the United States has just crossed a historic threshold by employing directed energy weapons against a manned target. And if you still have doubts, stay tuned. In the next few minutes, we'll break down the exact timeline, the systems involved, and the strategic repercussions this event could unleash in the Middle East and beyond. Because when war is fought at the speed of light, neither international law nor conventional deterrence remain the same. Here are the facts. You complete the debate in the comments. It was exactly 4:17 a.m. when the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Preble, hull DDG-88, displacement 9,200 tons, and 4 LM-250 plus turbines capable of exceeding 30 knots, advanced cautiously through the choppy waters of the Gulf of Aden. To port, a handful of merchant ships formed a faint line of lights. To starboard, the horizon blended with the star-sprinkled blackness. The order of the day, issued by the Fifth Fleet, was to escort a convoy carrying medical supplies bound for Djibouti, an essential step for humanitarian aid in the Horn of Africa. The weather offered a reprieve. Clear skies, moderate seas, and visibility greater than 12 miles. In the Combat Information Center, AN/SPY-6 AESA, radar consoles painted surface and aerial echoes. Operators performed verification cycles every 30 seconds. Everything seemed normal until a tactical anomaly appeared on the screens. Unbeknownst to the crew, a Mi-17 adapted by Houthi insurgents with Iranian support was lifting off from the hills of Taiz, 120 kilometers from the coast. The aircraft, its registration painted over in black, was no simple transport. It carried two AT-2 Swatter missiles, a 7.62mm PKM, and a Starlink terminal linked to drone spotters. Its mission: fly low, fire on the hospital ship Pacific Star, a Panamanian-flagged freighter with critical medicines, and sink it before it could send out a distress call. The Houthi planners were unaware that the USS Preble housed a 30-kilowatt SEQ-3 LaWS laser weapon with a beryllium steering mirror and 4.5 megawatts of electrical reserve. Tested against drones and small boats, it had never faced a manned helicopter. In the hold of the Pacific Star, 11 Blackwater Solutions guards checked Stanag magazines and a Browning M2 HB. They were veterans of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, not of aerial attacks. At 0419, First Officer Miguel Torres detected a thermographic echo at 15 kilometers, altitude 200 meters, speed 120 knots. He knew the AT-2 could penetrate 500 millimeters of steel, and that the Pacific Star's hull was only 30 millimeters thick. He issued a mayday immediately. Lieutenant Sarah Delgado took the call. She switched the SPY-6 to synthetic aperture mode and confirmed the Mi-17 signature. Commander Javier Morales ordered, "Arm LaWS, lock target." The LaWS MWIR sensor measured atmospheric dispersion. Predictive algorithms adjusted microradians. Energy and cooling ready. At 0422, the Mi-17 was 8 kilometers from the Pacific Star. It opened fire with the PKM. The Browning fired back in vain. Delgado announced, "Steady track. Engage," Morales dictated. An invisible beam heated the tail rotor above 800 degrees Celsius in 0.9 seconds. The shaft gave way, the helicopter fell in smoke, and an AT-2 missile detonated in the air. Burning debris splashed into the sea 4 kilometers from the convoy. Radar detected a second Mi-17 18 kilometers north. The LaWS cooled its circuits and recovered power in 90 seconds. At 4:26, another beam pierced its fuel tank, a fireball at 12 kilometers. 2 helicopters down. Subsequent intelligence revealed Starlink links encrypted in Farsi. The Fifth Fleet ordered the base eliminated. At 6 a.m., the Preble launched 4 Tomahawk Block IVs with DSMAC guidance. At 0632, impacts destroyed hangars, JP-8 depots, and a Falak radar. MQ-9 Reapers confirmed secondary detonations. The Houthis still had Boghammer-fast boats. At 0815, 5 units departed at 45 knots, each carrying RPG-7s and AK-103s. Saturation strategy. Delgado calculated trajectories. Morales authorized fire. At 8:20, the LaWS burned through the engine of the first boat in 1.8 seconds. 3 more followed quickly. The fifth was destroyed by an AGM-114R Hellfire fired from a Reaper. Result: 22 insurgents, 2 Mi-17s, 5 boats, and 1 base neutralized. Energy costs negligible compared to ESSM missiles. At 1400 hours, 2 F-35s seized from the USS Abraham Lincoln dropped GBU-31 JDAMs on a depot in Al Hudaydah, destroying 15 Qasef-2K drones and Noor C-802 missiles. At 2200 hours the following day, the acoustic operator of the USS Preble had detected an anomalous echo on the SEQ-3 sonar. Narrow signature, low cavitation frequency, constant 10-knot speed, clear signs of an improvised wire-guided torpedo. The anti-submarine warfare officer confirmed the threat with a second active sweep at 4.2 kHz and classified the contact as a possible autonomous explosive device, heading straight for the convoy at less than 3,000 meters. With the order of immediate action, the Preble launched a RUM-139C ASROC anti-submarine missile armed with a Mark 54 Mod 0 lightweight torpedo. 34 seconds later, the rocket separated, and the Mark 54 deployed parachutes, entered the water, acquired the target with its broadband active sonar, and detonated its PBXN-103 warhead at 60 meters depth. The explosion generated a water column over 20 meters high, followed by bubbling and metallic fragments that confirmed neutralization. The incident was recorded as the first operational chain use of a laser system against helicopters and boats, a cruise missile against the launch base, and an ASROC against a submarine threat in one mission, demonstrating the feasibility of a multi-layer defense combining directed energy, kinetic interception, and anti-submarine warfare in real time. The Navy concluded that a laser shot costs just a few dollars and downs 1,000 threats. It recommended doubling LaWS stations and applying AI to target assignment. Satellite images showed Iran testing reflective ceramic coatings. The Office of Naval Research responded with 60-kilowatt combined beam prototypes. The Pacific Star reached Djibouti without incident. Local doctors thanked the escort. 3 weeks later in Bahrain, Morales received the Distinguished Service Medal. Delgado, the Legion of Merit. Petty Officer Cody Barnes, a marksmanship badge for directed energy. Analysts debated whether the photon era had begun. Advantages: low cost, no contrail, instant reaction. Disadvantages: fog, dust, and salt reduce effectiveness. The Fifth Fleet installed additional MT-30 generators and open forums on international law. Is a laser against manned platforms proportionate? Naval academies include the case as an example of layered defense. AESA radar, lasers for close range, standard missiles mid-range, and armed drones in depth. Delgado admitted to having rehearsed helicopter plus boats scenarios 15 times in a simulator. Training was key. As of today, the USS Preble has resumed routine patrols, advancing steadily as the white dome of the AN/SEQ-3 LaWS laser system stands out on the bow, gleaming under the sun and visible from kilometers away. Meanwhile, at Naval Surface Warfare Center labs and East Coast shipyards, engineering teams are perfecting new ablative coatings to dissipate the extreme heat generated by each shot, and developing explainable AI algorithms that, in future versions, will justify in real time each engagement decision to the chain of command and international law observers, integrating operational transparency with the power of directed energy. No one forgets how an invisible beam saved a convoy. Innovation is a race without a finish line. The goal of this account is to show how technology can save lives, and at the same time raise ethical dilemmas about combat automation. If you want rigorous, unsensational analysis, subscribe and join the debate. Do naval lasers stabilize or escalate the arms race? The Senate Armed Services Committee cited the incident as a turning point and urged accelerating laser deployment before 2027. The 68-page report models scenarios where convoys suffer swarms of kamikaze drones and recommends equipping each escort with a minimum laser power of 150 kilowatts. The IMO announced a review of its guidelines for directed energy weapons, warning of risks near civilian routes, and calling for stricter identification protocols. Laser adoption requires training crews in optics, power electronics, and cryogenic maintenance, a cultural evolution as important as the technological one. Thus, the story that began with 2 Iranian-equipped Mi-17 ended up redefining procedures, budgets, and maritime diplomacy. It hasn't ended. Each patrol may bring another tactical challenge that will test the laser's cost-effectiveness equation. The helicopter fell in seconds, but the questions remain in the air. Has a clean deterrent just been born? One that will save civilian lives? Or has it triggered a race to flood the skies with disposable drones and reflective armor? If the laser leaves no room to surrender, is it still proportional under international law? Or does it inaugurate a gray zone where ethics lag behind technology? And when this capability extends beyond Washington, will it be a stabilizing factor or the fuel for a new spiral of reprisals? Leave your view and subscribe. The next skirmish could prove that in war at the speed of light, the rules change at the same speed. See you in the next video.